The wind here is so interesting because of the depth of the court and the height of the stadium. You look at the flag at times, and it's moving and moving, and you're sitting out there. I was out watching a little bit of the Sharapova match out in the stands today, and it is hot, and you're dying for a little bit of breeze. But then I'm listening on the earphone to you guys talking about the wind being a factor, and down on the court, the way it hits the stadium and swirls, it matters.
It almost gets trapped down below, and it goes usually the opposite way of what the flags are showing. Good close there from Kirilenko. She's really looking to try to take the ball early, finish some points off at the net.
And Mike, through the years, I've actually been courtside and then gone out to the middle of the court for the interview of a match that I didn't think was that windy. And then I got in the middle of the court, and I'm like, whoa, it is, the windiest part is right in the middle.
A couple of good points back-to-back for Kirilenko. You saw that perfect shot from the flag. That flag is a big flag, and it's moving, but obviously it's a little bit higher, and the impact of hitting the screens and then swirling around the bowl of the stadium. That's what the players talk about.
And that's why it's important to get a look on this court early on, and that's why Kirilenko came out at 9 a.m. this morning. That's very early to get up and come practice when you have a night match. A good matchup in tonight's match would be McHale's forehand to Kirilenko's forehand. That's the pattern she wants to establish in the match. The backhand, the advantage would go to Kirilenko. Christina's worked really hard on getting a stronger backhand cross court, getting that left hand to help her do a little bit of the work. But it's tough for her to open up the court that way still.
Mary Jo mentioned it a moment ago that Christina McHale has played in here against Maria Sharapova in 09, and on the comeback, Sharapova at that point. That was a second-round match. And McHale won a first-round match to get her first U.S. Open win, and then lost to Sharapova 2-1 in a second-round match here in Arthur Ashe Stadium.
I was really surprised to hear that the player development program doesn't use these big stadium courts more for regular practice during the year. Get used to the wind. I know a lot of times the weather's not good enough here, but I'd want to be practicing here as much as I could.
Serve long. Kirilenko will give us the first challenge of the night.
That was a late call. Take a look at the chase review coming up. Seemed to be the correct call. Clearly long.
Second double for the 24-year-old Russian. And as high as 18 in the world rankings. That back 3 years ago. She had a very good 2008. Move her up near the top 20. Took advantage of that good serve to hold serve. So we are on serve in the opening set as we open an American-laden doubleheader tonight in New York. On serve, Christina McHale, 1-2. Nice passing shot.
I think the crowd can be a factor in tonight's match, really lifting McHale up. And now that they're more settled, they're going to get more involved.
Right, Joe, great resource for us as tennis viewers and fans to have both you and Patrick, who are so involved with what's going on within the United States and tennis. We mentioned Patrick's role with the USTA and the general manager of the development for America's players, male and female, especially out of this facility here, the National Tennis Center. And your role with the Fed Cup and watching, looking for young Americans. Because let's face it, Serena and Venus have not played as often as maybe you would have hoped.
I haven't had them on a team yet.
Well, that's not as often. So I'm just curious, as we watch McHale here, one of the young ones at 19, where we see the current picture, current snapshot of young female American tennis.
Well, the nice thing is that we're seeing a bit of a breakthrough at this year's U.S. Open. We had 5 Americans through to the 3rd round. That's the first time since 2004 that we have that many. And from my perspective, I've had a lot of these young players on, if they're not on the team, as part of the team, as the hitting partners. They have a great camaraderie. I think that's a huge part of them doing so well.
In such an individual sport, how does that camaraderie factor into drawing everybody forward together?
I think they genuinely like each other and they push each other. And when Melanie Udan made her breakthrough a couple years ago, it inspired a lot of them to work harder, gave them belief that, okay, here's someone in our generation that's doing well, we can do well. Aggressive play by Kirilenko. She's been looking a little bit more than McHale to move in and take advantage of the short balls. McHale a little too passive still. It's Kirilenko's support group.
And her second break point opportunity of the match. Too much, Kirilenko. And she gets the first break of the match, up 3-1. Tammy, do you agree with what Mary Jo is saying about the players pulling each other forward because of some of the good success?
Oh, absolutely. You get a momentum. Just putting into perspective, 2004, the last time we had 5 American women, 4 of them, Venus, Serena, Capriati, and Davenport, won those round of 32 matches. They all won at least 3 majors and at least 1 Olympic gold. It may be like forever before we see that again, because the geography has just changed in women's tennis so much.
Beautiful play.
It's a good move for Kirilenko. Has good balance. Reminds me a little bit of Panetta, who upset Sharapova earlier today. She's good on the baseline. She's good moving forward.
So, Mike, just again, I think this current crop, I don't think they're anything like what we saw in '04, but it's, you know, it's certainly a better feeling than what we've had the last few years.
McHale's getting moved around the court here. Kirilenko dictating.
It's a big advantage so far for Kirilenko. She's been willing to make a move forward. Again, she doesn't have the firepower from the baseline to knock you off with one shot. But if she gets that short ball, she's very comfortable approaching and coming forward and hitting a volley.
And Pam, when you alluded to the geography being different, you mean the global nature of how many players we see coming out of the former Russia and Russia itself.
Yeah, and take 04. I mean, that summer, the Russians took over major tennis with Moskina, Sharapova, Kuznetsova winning the last 3 majors. And, you know, think what Belgium's done since then, Serbia's done. It's just a whole new ballgame. Asia with China's coming onto the map.
Two-handed backhand, another winner for Kirilenko. Up a break, you saw an American. Both Mama for the opportunity to move through. Keep an eye on everything going on as we continue.